Hello, it's me, Kisma, and welcome back to Sacred Landscapes. This is video 3. Here are your supply lists you're going to need, and I'm going to go over each one of these as we need them. So, the first thing we're going to do is move forward in our stenciling, but we need to sort of scope out our landscape. So we're going to take that tissue paper. Oh my gosh, I'm sure adjusting, aren't I? Sorry. We're going to take that tissue paper and we're going to lay it back down on our spread. And we're going to determine where our horizon line is, where our placements are going to be. So once again, we're just revisiting that and making just a few pencil marks onto the spread. Now, don't press too hard on your tracing paper. You don't want to break through, but if you do press firmly, you will leave a little bit of an indentation in your paint. And you just fill it in. So now we're going to lay down the stencils. This is artist masking tape, and it is a different type of masking tape. It's not as sticky as normal. So you want to definitely get artist masking tape so that you can tape down and pull off without pulling up your paper. Then just tape down your tree stencil. Those little fine ends, oh, you're just going to have to do the best you can. Now, make sure that you put your sacred stone stencil down in the right way. Trust me, I've done it the wrong way before. So you place it down, and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to use your artist masking tape on the back. Now here comes the fun part. We need to choose colors. You're going to start off with this landscape choosing 2 colors of green. So what I did was I took all of my acrylic paints that I own and I made a little bit of a legend. So again, 2. So I take my photo of Ireland and I want to choose 2 greens from here, a dark and a light. And so I ended up going with, what did I go with? I think I went with Hooker's green and olive green. The Hooker's green was a dark green that tied in, and then the olive green matched some of the more yellowish green. I didn't want too great a contrast. In Ireland, it really is true. There are 50 shades of green, you know, so you could just keep using greens. All right, so here we go. We've got our paints chosen, and now comes the fun part, the painting. Okay, so we're going to choose the darker green first, and we're going to just dab some of it here and there, and we're going to use that icing spread or a credit card or a brush. It's easier if you use a tool like what I'm using though. And you want to go in one direction, only one direction. You can see a little dab doesn't do ya, so don't be afraid to get some paint on your pages because you got to spread it all over. You don't want to cover, but you got to get it at least so that it can spread and move around. The other thing is, don't be afraid to cover up your words. You know, we put those words down as a release, and when they peek through, that's awesome, but when they get covered up, you know, it's okay. It's a part of art journaling. So just cover your pages as much or as little as you want, but keep going in one direction, and don't, if some of your paint gets underneath the finer parts of your stencil, don't freak out. Just keep spreading it. You know, everything is fixable, and like I've said in previous lessons, if you end up hating what you've done in the end, it was an experience. You did learn something, what to do or what not to do next time, and you just can use your white gesso and make it all disappear. All right, so now we're going to take off our stencil. And you can see how some of the smaller limbs to the right got a little messy with the paint. Don't do what I'm doing. Don't wipe it off, because man, did I make more of a mess. Just leave it, let it dry, you know. Now here's the thing about when we do work with layers. We have these wonderful blow drying guns that we can use to expedite the drying process of gesso and gels and acrylic paints. Don't use them on watercolors ever, because you want the watercolors to do a natural dry process. But go ahead and use it whenever you use that heating gun, whenever you are doing acrylic work. So there's our first layer of green, and what we're going to do is we're going to let it dry, of course, whether naturally or with a gun, and as soon as it's dry, we're going to come back now and we're going to reapply those stencils, just slightly altered, not exactly the same, just a little off. And we're going to go over it with the second layer of our, oops, sorry for the background noise if you hear that automobile. We're going to use our second green, in this case the olive green. So we're going to just repeat the same process. So when I actually get the olive green onto that hunter's green, I realize it looks a little too dark. So I put some Titan Buff down with it, and I'm blending those two together for this second layer. And I'm demonstrating the use of a 2-inch brayer, which takes your paint and really just nicely rolls it out. You just have to go over things a little bit more to disperse, and I probably could have mixed my olive and Titan Buff together, but oh well. And once you have the second layer of paint the way you'd like it, you're going to, of course, take off your stencils and let all of that really dry. Okay, now this next section is optional, but I'm going to add a little texture to the green areas. I'm going to mix together equal parts of 3D matte gel using a palette knife and equal parts of acrylic gesso. This just adds a little bit of texture so that what you paint on top of it becomes even more varied. It's optional, so if you have these items, then go for it if you want to give it a try. Otherwise, this part can be bypassed. But you get, once you have it mixed, you're going to get a thin layer on the back, and you're going to go over the green areas in short little swatches. So see, it's a very thin amount. And just begin to apply. Don't worry about any unevenness or any continuation. Just allow the medium to be applied to the green areas. If you happen to go into any of the yellow area, you can just wipe it off. Okay, now we're going to let this dry, really dry. So once it's dry, we can continue on. And if you have skipped this texturing part, then continue on into video 4. See you there.